Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to this, I would say meeting in the sense that I'm going to try as much as possible to make it as interactive as I can, because the things I'm going to be sharing, they are things that I'm also learning, and I'm also on a journey. So I'm not running the program coming across as someone that has all the answers. No, I don't. I'm also on the learning trip just as every other person. But I do have some things to say. And I think that is a good way to follow up on what we did on the platform earlier, which was how for us not to transfer our trauma to the next generation. And one of the ways that we can avoid doing that is when we have self-awareness, when we understand who we are. But before I go into and start asking, I've written down a lot of questions that I want us to talk about. I would like to share 3 examples, things that happened to me some years back, that some recently, some years back, that got me thinking about why it is important for us to be self-aware. Some years ago, and I'm talking about maybe more than 15, 20 years ago, I had a young lady that was staying with me there. So one day she came up to me and she said, please, so I'm about to tell you something. I don't want you to get upset. Do you know that you get angry easily? I was stunned, honestly, because that was the first time ever in my life somebody was going to tell me straight that you get easily angry. I never saw myself as somebody that got easily angry, honestly. So when she said that to me that day, I was puzzled. And I said, really? I answered that with an attitude of, you must be joking. But I don't know what happened. That day, I just had a caution within me that why don't you observe? What about if she's right? So I said, thank you. And after that day, I started observing myself. Lo and behold, she was right. And I did not know. I mean, that day was one of the days I learned that there's so many things that you might not even be aware about yourself, but you might be doing it to other people and they can see, but you cannot see. That day, after that day, I started observing myself and I realized that, oh my word, it's like I was touch and go. That was my first experience. The second one, this was also some years ago, well over 25 years ago. I was not even aware I was doing it until my pastor in England then brought it to my attention. Of course, the kind of church I was going to then, we used to have a lot of fellowship after fellowship, where after service, we will hang around, we will gist, we will talk, we will eat. But I noticed that, and then we'll hug each other. So one day, she just challenged me. She said, you, this girl, come here. Now you are going to hug me. And lo and behold, I never knew that anytime people approach me to hug me, I usually turn my side. I never allowed them to hug me directly. I didn't. I mean, I think it was just an auto reaction, and I was not aware. And she said, this is what you have been doing. Now you will turn and face me. Honestly, I froze. And of course, that was the beginning of a journey of me dealing with what was it that I was afraid of, that I never allow people to hug me directly. Once you are coming close to me, whether male or female, I will just turn my side. And and that was a second experience that I had about what lack of self-awareness can do. The third one was what happened recently. I went for a trauma course. And as they were talking about the signs of trauma, they mentioned something, and it's something that I've been doing for years, but I never knew it was a trauma response. I never knew. Once you give me stress, I will avoid you. But I never knew that, to me, I thought, oh, it's just being a peaceful person. Seek peace. But I never knew that it has become so habitual. I was now using it to even avoid situations that I should have just stood and face it and deal with it. I never knew. So I decided to share these 3 examples from my own personal life for us to see the lack of self-awareness can hinder the quality of our lives. Lack of self-awareness can make us to start living a life that is not really true to us. When you are not aware of who you are, when you are not aware of your values, when you are not aware of what you stand for, the kind of person you are, what you are, you get angry about stuff, you cannot explain why you get angry. You are biased about certain group of people. You cannot explain why you are biased. I mean, lack of self-awareness, we cloud our judgment about so many things. And that is what I felt when I posted it on the page and people responded. I felt, yes, this is like a follow-up on what we did some weeks back about not passing our trauma to the next generation. So I've written out some questions, a lot of them actually, that I want to ask us. And if you can respond, it would be nice. You can put them in the chat box. I want it to be as interactive as possible. How self-aware are you? And when I mean self-aware, I'm talking about in your personal life as an individual, emotionally, your belief system. How self-aware are you? What kind of person are you on a scale of 1 to 10? Will you say, oh, I'm a very friendly person? Will you say, oh, I get easily angry? Oh, will you say, what will you say? You can leave your comment in the chat box. As I said at the beginning, I want you to be as interactive as possible. How self-aware are you? What is it that you know about yourself that you know, okay, so this is how I am? What are the things that informs your values? Let me read out some of the questions I've put down. And I said I was going to ask us today. Just a moment, please. Let me read it from my book. On a grade of 1 to 10, how self-aware are you of the following? Your mood. Some people struggle with mood swing. Are you aware that, sometimes you meet some people that are very moody, they are very touchy, and they are not even aware that they are moody or they are touchy? How self-aware, what kind of emotions do you struggle with most? I gave you an example at the beginning. I never used to see myself that I was an angry person. But when the lady brought it to my attention and I started observing the way I was responding to things around me, I realized that she was right. And I had to start facing it. But until she was able to bring it to my attention, I didn't know. If you had told me, oh, you're not, I would tell you, no way. I like peace and I pursue peace. So sometimes we have issues that we are not even aware of. So how do you react to situations and circumstances? How self-aware are you of your health status? A lot of people are sick and they don't even know that they are sick. Some people are sick in their body. The body communicates, but they don't know because they're not even conscious. That's why sometimes people can be having symptoms, all kinds of symptoms, and they just neglect it until one day they collapse. And they start, when the doctor now asks them, have you been having this kind of experiences? And you'll be thinking, I didn't know. I did not know. So how self-aware are you of your emotional state? Today, my own focus, the self-awareness, it covers different things. It covers your health, covers your relationship, it covers your finances, it covers your career, it covers your religious belief. But the one I really want to focus on is the emotional state, because you know what? If the emotional state is not dealt with, I guarantee you, I have suffered it. I've seen it. If the emotional state is not dealt with, I can guarantee you it will affect your health, it will affect your relationship, it will affect your career, it will affect you know, how you are able to live out your belief, it will affect your family. It will affect your relationship with your children. It will affect your relationship with other members of your family if all those areas are not dealt with. Let me just read what is in the chat box. Okay, he says, I have issues that I'm not aware of emotionally. Just a quick one. I've been having issues with my Zoom. Please, and please, I'm not talking to the people that are here. Please, I need to make this announcement. My account has been tampered with for some time, and I've been having issues with my Zoom account. Please, if you have access to my Zoom account and you are controlling a backend, I want to believe that you are a very good person, inwardly, and you love people. We are having a family meeting here because we want to get better. We want to be good. We want to improve on our lives. We want God to help us to deal with whatever it is that we are facing. So I will appreciate if this meeting is not tampered with, my camera and also the structure of our meeting. Thank you very much. I believe you have a good heart and you will do the right thing because I know you know the right thing to do. Okay, somebody says here, I know I have issues emotionally. We all do. We all do. And it's just for us to be aware. What kind of issues do we have? Okay, I'm going to be reading some things out that I've written out. I want us to consider. What exactly is self-awareness? Self-awareness simply means a point of recognition where you really understand who you are. You come to that understanding, that cognition of, oh, this is my value system. This is how I am. This is how I think. This is how I behave. This is how I feel about myself. This is why I react in this particular way. This is, is that ability to see yourself the way you really are. But what happened is that sometimes life situation knocked us and we develop different kind of survival strategies to help us to cope that we numbed who we really are. So we lose touch with who we really are. We don't know who we are anymore because we are trying to survive through the things that has been thrown at us. We are trying to cope. We are trying to live above them. So we numb ourselves with different kind of covers so that we'll be able to survive, we'll be able to live. And with time, you just find that I don't know how many people have experienced it, that sometimes you feel like you're like two people living in one. Within you, you'll be thinking, but this is not really me. Why am I reacting to this person this way? At the core of my heart, this is not really me. It's because there are things that we have used to cover our real self, and we are just projecting out of the things that we have gone through. So what we want to achieve today is to come to that terms and say, who am I? So where you are, if you can get a paper and a pen, you might want to put in the chat box, but you don't have to if you don't want. It would be nice if you can put in the chat box so that we can make it as interactive as possible. But if you don't want, it is okay as well. So ask yourself, who am I? What makes me angry? What are the areas of my life emotionally that I struggle with? What kind of a person am I? What are my emotional gauge? What are the emotions that I struggle with? Am I a moody person? Am I an angry person? Am I a bitter person? Am I a person that is very hateful? Or am I a person that is very teary? Am I a person that is very touchy? Am I a person that is very aggressive and violent? What kind of a person are you? The next question we need to ask is that really you? Or are those emotions a reaction to something that you have already gone through, and you are just using that to cover it up? It says, I had a traumatic experience, a traumatic, emotionally abusive childhood, and a marriage the same. I get angry easily, but I think it's mainly with myself. I also hate any form of confrontation. It makes me to shut down. I want a peaceful life. I care about everyone. I don't look after myself properly, though. I'm aware of quite a few about this. I don't know how to fix them. Thank you for sharing this. We'll be discussing them. Let me read about this again. When a person keeps breaking rules and we love them, how do we help them become aware of the emotional mess while still standing our ground? You see, one of the ways about this self-awareness is first of all to start with yourself. Self-awareness has to do with gaining mastery of your own emotion. It has to do with acknowledging where you are and beginning to deal with where you are. Now, there are some people, they will never respect your boundaries. That is their personality. They have their own issues. But you see, you will not have the internal strength to be able to withstand whatever it is they are doing if you don't deal with yourself first. So the starting point is you look after yourself. Like the lady that said, I had a traumatic childhood, I had a marriage that broke down. And of course, those things breaks you down. So starting point, acknowledge, I am a broken person and seek help. See me, I am a believer in seeking help. Seek help and begin to walk through those challenges and begin to, you see, sometimes when we are angry, I do journaling a lot. Oh, I write journals a lot. And one of the ways journals help is I say it's between me and God. For those that believe in God, it's between me and God. So I write my journal unedited. When I mean unedited, I mean unedited. I write it the way I feel it is. So it's one way to pour your heart. So when you do a lot of journaling, you are able to see the state of your heart as it is. Self-awareness is the beginning of self-mastery. If you are not aware of where you are, you will live by the script of other people, because other people will clone you to be who they think you should be, because you yourself, you are not even aware of who you are. So the starting point is, oh, I am broken in this area. See, we are all broken. It is the degree of brokenness that is different. Everybody is going through a journey of recovery. It is the degree of recovery that is different. So acknowledging, this is where I am. This is the kind of person I am. This is the area that I need to deal with. I gave you an example of myself earlier. I don't like confrontation, but guess what? In this life, you need confrontation. So what do I need to learn? How to confront in a constructive way. In a constructive way. So it's something I have to start learning. So that is about self-mastery. That is about awareness. So maybe I'm somebody that I'm angry at myself. I remember there was one time in this house. Oh my goodness, that day, I've never in my life, see, I am 56. I have never in my life screamed like that, the way I screamed that morning. I mean, I was vexed and I was just screaming and screaming early in the morning after my son has gone to school. And that day, I realized I had a lot of things I needed to get rid of. So after a while, I just poured everything out in my journal. What was I doing? I was acknowledging where I was. You cannot have self-mastery if you walk in denial. No. You cannot have self-mastery if you walk in, especially us, the religious people. We walk in denial a lot. You cannot have self-mastery if you walk in denial. So the starting point is acknowledge where you are. Write them down. Sometimes life circumstances makes us to internalize negative values. You begin to hate yourself. You begin to take identity. You allow circumstances around you to define. I tell myself, I am a good woman. When I wake up in the morning, God is pleased with me because God delights in me as his child. That is how I see myself. Whether somebody else sees me like that or not, it is irrelevant. Because if you don't see yourself right, The society will paint a picture of how they think you should be. And if you don't develop your emotional strength, they will come and put that picture on you and squeeze you into their mold. So part of doing yourself a favor is coming to that awareness that, who am I? If you are a Christian, I am a Christian, so my belief, my identity is based on the word of God. I go back to the Bible. This is who I am in God. God loves me, and God does not love me less because, like the person that wrote earlier, God does not love you less because you had a traumatic childhood. God does not love you less because you had a marriage that failed. God does not love you less maybe because you lost your job, or maybe because you lost your house, or maybe because a friend walked out on you. God does not love you less. The love of God for us is not dependent on external things. So we go back to, who am I? Who am I? And then we begin to live our life based on that identity. But this thing I'm telling you, it is a lot of work. It is a lot of work that individual, we must come to time where we are willing to be truthful, to be sincere, and say, this is the kind of person I am. I need help in this area. I need help in this area. I need help in this area. And seek help. Seek help. That is, I believe that is so much. So to fix them is, first of all, acknowledge where you are. Write them down. Write everything. Don't edit anything. Don't edit. Write everything down. The way you feel about yourself, the struggle, maybe you struggle with rejection, you struggle with low self-esteem, you struggle with anger or bitterness or resentment. Write everything down and then begin to ask yourself, why am I like this? Why am I like this? You know, one of the things I discovered about myself during my trauma course and all those things, I never really understood why once somebody begins to shout on me, something within me shuts down. It's not, I don't do it deliberately. Something within me will just shut down. Once you begin to shout on me, or you begin to report me all over the place, it's just an autopilot. Something within me just shut down. No matter what you do, something within me will just refuse to engage. I never understood until I discovered that it was a trauma response. Why? Because, you know, when we were growing up, our parents, they never spared us. And the way I lived with my grandmother, and then we lived in a big house, everybody was training us. So in my early years, if you messed up and they want to beat you, they will beat you publicly in front of everybody. And I was like that, I think, till I left secondary school. If you're going to be scolded, and then we used to be beaten with this cold koboko that my uncle used to buy then. They would beat us openly when other people were there. And I think within me, something broke. And I never liked anything where people shout on me or they begin to attack me publicly. I never traced it until I went on that trauma course and now saw the connection. I now saw, my goodness, it was because of what happened to me in my early years. So that anything that has to do with anything that has to do with somebody attacking you openly, somebody shouting on you openly, it brings back memories, but no way, not again. And now I'm aware, and I'm working on it. So I'm sharing all these personal things with us to see that these things is closer to all of us. That a lot of attitude, a lot of emotional reactions we have to issues, most of them are rooted in emotional issues that we have not dealt with. Sometimes maybe somebody has betrayed you and you have made up your mind, no matter what, I will never make myself vulnerable to that level that that person betrayed me. It will not happen. So even with your closeness to people, you have made a secret choice. There is a limit to which they can go. So the more people try to get to you, they get to a point, you just block them off. But you know why? Because you don't want to get hurt. Because you've been hurt in time past. You don't want to get hurt. That pain has to be visited so that you can be healed. If not, the relationship will always get to a particular level, and no matter what people try, they will not go any further. There's a question here that says, when a person keeps breaking rules and we love them, how do we help them become aware of the emotional mess while still standing our ground? See, when when you meet somebody who is very, I'll put it this way, some people by nature, naturally, they are very controlling. They have a very strong choleric personality. Anywhere they get to, they want to put everybody's life in order. Once they see somebody, they can identify what is wrong with you, and they want to enter your life. And some people, that is just their temperament. But you see, as we become, if that person becomes self-aware, the person will realize that even though I might see things that are wrong in people's life, it is not my responsibility to fix them. I can suggest, I can advise, I can, prompt, I can encourage, but I cannot control them. When you meet somebody who is so determined to insert their will on another person at all costs, the person has emotional issues that is not being faced. So what you can do, depending on your closeness with the person, some people, it depends. It depends. You cannot make a general rule and say this is what you must do in every situation, because relationships differs. If it is a work-related thing, maybe you might just leave them in their space if it is a work-related thing. But if it's a family setting, you might need to talk. And if the person refuses to change, you limit it. There's something we call limited association. We will relate, we will talk, but it's just that there are certain boundaries you might not cross. Having said that, there are some people, apart from them being choleric, they have been so indulged when they're growing up in having their way that they have never learned what it means not to have their way. So some people, any relationship they get into, they must have their way. And if they don't have their way, they will scatter whatever needs to be scattered to have their way. So you now have to make a choice. Do I have the emotional capacity to handle this person and accept the person the way the person is and still maintain my boundary? Or do I need to create a distance? It is a choice that individual will have to make. We cannot make it for them. But when somebody continuously and deliberately and intentionally violates your rules, it just shows that they have no respect for you. There is no other way. According to the Bible that I believe in, the Bible says we should honor one another. We honor one another by treating one another with respect and dignity. We honor one another by doing to one another what God expects us to do. So if I do things to you and I know it hurts you and I keep doing it, I'm not concerned about you. I'm concerned about myself. That is not a healthy relationship. In healthy relationship, we will hurt one another. It is the normal way. It is the reality of life. That is life. But when somebody deliberately and continuously continue to hurt you, then they are not seeking for a healthy relationship. They are looking for control. They are looking for something in your life that they can latch on and begin to use it to control. For such people, you might need to make a drastic step and say, you know what, in my life, this is how far we can go. If you are not willing to respect my space, I am sorry, we cannot deal. But just as I said at the beginning, you cannot make one rule applies to all. Relationship differ. So some relationship you will talk, everybody will talk, and then you move on. And then you just accept this is how this person is, and you leave it like that. So it depends on the context and how close the person is to you and what exactly the issues that you guys are dealing with. If anybody has any question and any comment, please, you are free to put it in the chat box. So the thing now is, how do we improve our self-awareness? How? And I think I've even answered nearly all of them. The first one is honest self-evaluation. Where am I? I am wounded emotionally. Where am I emotionally? How stable am I emotionally? What areas of my life do I need to give attention to? What is my mood like? What do I struggle with? Do I need to talk to somebody or do I need to seek help? That's the first one. Self-evaluation. We can lie to other people, but we cannot lie to ourselves. You know yourself. You know where you are. You know the things that you struggle with. Write them down. Write them down. Write a letter to yourself. Write them down. I'm hungry. Why are you angry? I don't like that person. Why don't I like that person? Some people have values about men that are rooted in what they saw when they were growing up. What was it that you saw that influenced your values about men? The fact that somebody has a broken marriage does not mean that men are evil. Men are not evil. The fact that the person left and moved on with somebody else does not even make the person an evil person. It just means that things did not work out. So sometimes we allow the bitterness of our journey to color our values, and we begin to make decisions. We begin to define our life. All men are this. I don't believe that. All men are not cheaters. No, 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 no. There are a lot of good and responsible men out there. So we need to examine, why do I believe in this? Is this belief based on what God says about me, or is it based on my experience because of something that has happened? I remember another thing is to accept where you are. Self-acceptance is key. You are unique in your own way. You are unique. I always tell myself, it does not matter the depth of brokenness or mess in my life. That is what I'm a Christian. So I'm going to keep referring to the Bible. And that's why Jesus came now. Jesus came to fix broken people. So I am on the right path. It does not matter. So accept where you are. Acknowledge your brokenness. Acknowledge your emotional struggle. Acknowledge it. This is where I am. This is where I am weak. This is where I am struggling. I'll give you another person. I like sharing a personal example so that it will make everybody comfortable that we are all on the same journey, but we cannot afford to stay there. There is recovery. There is freedom. There is healing available. Because of my line of work, I've read a lot about panic attack and all those things. Until one day I was at home. I was in the kitchen and I just started having some physical vibration and all those things. I thought, hey, what is this? I've never experienced this. What is this? All of a sudden, I just thought, hey, what sign is this? I quickly I went online, I quickly brought all my books and I started reading. And I realized that I had some thought within me that my body was acting out. And I didn't know until that day. So I thought, what? I better give attention to this. So it comes with self-awareness. You can lie to anybody, but please don't lie to yourself. Somebody says, I cope by blocking a lot of things out because otherwise I end up tearful if I start thinking about things. You need to go, you see, there is nothing wrong in crying. There's nothing wrong. Absolutely nothing wrong. Today, something happened to me and I became very upset and I became teary. But you know what I did? I just took my jacket, took my key and went for a walk. And as I was walking, I was crying, but I was praying. Crying is therapeutic. Crying is good for the soul. It's good for the mind. It's good for the body. When you are sick physically, you go to the doctor. Sometimes if you have a cut and you are bleeding, and when they are trying to clean it and they apply all those ointment, you will feel the discomfort. You might even scream, especially you see it in children. But you bear it, you endure it. Why? Because you want to get healed. The same thing. Emotional wound cannot be healed when it is covered. Whatever you cover will become septic and it will decay and it will get worse. So to heal any wound, it has to be exposed. It has to be cleaned. So when memories come and it brings pain, own it. I'm not saying stay there. Deal with it. Don't allow it to go. Don't allow it to go. I told you earlier, I was upset. But as I was praying, I was telling myself, why? Put things in perspective. Who is God to you? What does God say to you? You know, by the time I came back from my walk, I was settled within me. If I had buried it, that thing will have come up another time. So the starting point to become, owning yourself, having mastery, is self-awareness. Once you are aware, those pain come, own needs, deal with it at that particular time. Journaling can be painful, especially if you have buried things for a very long time, but it is part of the healing process. It has to be dealt with. Take it one at a time, one at a time. I'm angry. Why are you angry? Write those things out unedited. By the time you write them down, in fact, it's like you are removing weights from your inner man. So part of it is there's nothing wrong in crying. You want to cry? Cry. Crying is good for the soul. Crying is good for your mind. It's good. It's a way of unburdening the things that are buried within. So there's nothing wrong in being teary. You see, dealing with loss can be very painful. Relationship loss, career loss, financial loss, whatever it is, it can be. But you see those pain, inside those pain are nuggets of wisdom that you will never get anywhere else if you are willing to go through that pain and allow that pain to teach you about values, about life. So burying things is not the way to heal. You need to face it. You need to deal with it. And I keep saying, if you need help, you get help. Ask for help. He says, yes. For example, you need to find out. I just wrote 4 things there that I said I was going to mention today that can help us to improve on our self-awareness. The first one is honest self-evaluation. The second one is accept where you are. Acknowledge your weaknesses. You can't fix a problem that you have not identified. So acknowledge your weaknesses. Acknowledge where you are. And then seek help and begin to do something about that. Then number 3, be committed to your personal growth. Love yourself enough to want to live a good life. Honesty. It's a personal decision I've made. Love yourself enough. Ask yourself, what does love mean to you? If you love people and you will not call people you love stupid, why should you call yourself stupid? If you not call the people that you love loser, why should you call yourself a loser? Because something happened to you? If you not call people you love a failure, why should you call yourself a failure? So true love starts with us as individuals. Even God himself says, love your neighbor as you love yourself. So why should I be calling people good names and be calling myself bad names? No. So this, we do it the other way around. So we need to go back to the classroom and say, okay, a lot of things have been rewired. A lot of things have been changed in me because of what has happened to me. Now I need to go back and put them back in order. It is a lot of work, but it is doable and it is achievable. So be committed to your personal growth. Change is about daily improvement. If over the years you have been bearing a lot of issues because I just want to endure, I just want to bear it, and now you are getting to the point where you feel like exploding, it is time to calm down and begin to take them one by one. So the third one, be committed to your personal growth. There's a general adage that says Rome was not built in a day. Yes, it is the truth. So one step at a time, one step at a time. Get a journal, write it down. And the last one, be patient with yourself. You see, it is easy to destroy. Have you seen when they want to bring out houses? It's within 5 minutes. Something that took 30 years to build can be scattered and brought down within 5 minutes. It's easy to destroy. It takes a longer time to build. So be patient with yourself. When we go through broken things in life, we want to recover immediately. Be patient. Take it one step at a time. One step at a time. Celebrate your milestone. Me, I celebrate myself. You know why? Because there were certain things I was ignorant of. Now I am more aware. To me, that is growth. Before, like I told you earlier, I went for a walk. By the time I came back, I was settled within me. Before, I could be like that for 1 or 2 days. But now, I could see that I've grown. I celebrate myself. Celebrate your achievement. It does not matter how little. How little. It is. Celebrate your achievement. And, you know, the more you become self-aware of your strength, of your weaknesses, of values that you have imbibed because of negative life experience, the more you become alive, and the more it helps you to be able to handle external things around you in a positive way, including your relationship. You cannot give what you don't have. That's just the truth about life. So if you want to change things around you, he said, change starts with me. It starts with us as individuals. It's not my responsibility to go and change anybody. The person I can change is me. If I want to be better, if I want things around me to be better, then I myself must be better, so that what I'm bringing to the environment meets up with what I'm expecting the environment to give me. So it starts with us and as individuals. So 4 tips I've mentioned today: honest self-evaluation, be honest with yourself. What kind of a person I am? What's my emotional life like? What kind of negative emotion do I struggle with? Secondly, accept where you are. This is me. See, I was emotionally ignorant about so many things, honestly. In fact, the level of my own ignorance shocked me as an individual. But I made up my mind. No way. You keep learning every day. And I started engaging in courses to help my soul. I went for an emotional intelligence course to help my life. And that course transformed me. So accept where you are and seek help. Don't sit there. Don't allow religion to cut you short. Don't seek help. Me, I'm a believer in seeking help. Buy books, listen to tape, listen to teachings that will help you. Follow people that are teaching along the areas that you want to overcome. Work on yourself. The greatest investment you can ever make in life is not investment in clothes. It's not investment in jewelry. All those things are important. The greatest investment you can make in life is investment in your own personal development. Investment in becoming the kind of person that God has created you to be. You know, being willing to do whatever it is to make sure that you live the kind of life that God wants you to live. That's what all this is all about. And I said, be patient. Every little drops of water makes a mighty ocean. That's what they say. Every little thing you do towards your self-improvement, towards growth, towards change, forget about the things that are not working. Focus on the things that are working. As I conclude, you know, my last birthday, in fact, it's like everything around me resemble negativity. So I told my son, I said, I'm going to be 56. I am going to write 56 things I am grateful to God for. And it was a decision I made. And I kept looking. He that seeketh will find. Now I am looking for, and I must find. And I kept writing. Sometimes I'm writing, I'm crying, but I kept writing. I kept writing. I kept writing. And guess what? I wrote over 60. So I always tell myself, look for something, you know, to celebrate. We cannot become who we are supposed to be overnight, especially when we have been carrying a lot of decay for years. No, we cannot. But we can become better every day. We can become better every day. I think I should stop for now and allow for contribution, comment, or questions while we begin to round up. So we are free to share. Hello, am I the only one here? I know I'm not the only one. Hello?
We're following you, ma.
Okay, so let everybody share your comment, your questions.
Okay.
You want to share something with us to encourage us?
Okay, ma.
Okay. Sorry, I'm looking for. All right. Does anybody have anything to say, to share with us? So, just to round up, what this meeting is really all about is just to encourage us to say that this journey is for the long haul. We are all in it together. I've shared a lot about myself just to make us comfortable to see that just as I'm saying it, that people should work on themselves, it's something I'm also doing. I'm not there yet. I'm on a journey, but we are all together doing it. And we cannot allow, you know, I always tell myself, when you meet someone, leave a memory with them that will make them to feel better about themselves, because you don't know the wound that people are carrying. You don't know the things that people are struggling with. So when you meet someone, touch them in such a way. It might be a word, it might be an encouragement, it might be just something, it might even be a song. Leave them in a way that when they remember their meeting with you, their heart will be glad. So I just want to encourage us that, we are all on this journey together. God wants us to be well. I'm a Christian, so I have to still be referring to God. God wants us to be well in our spirit, in our soul, in our body. But a lot of people are carrying deep emotional wound that, are shaping their value system, and they're allowing that to control them, and they don't know why, and they're looking for a way of escape. And that is why God is raising people like us to become a voice and say, you know what? You can rewrite that script. You don't have to continue to live with the script that you have been given, script that you have been handed. You can rewire, you can rewrite that script, and you can live the kind of life that God wants you to live. But you must be committed as an individual to your own personal growth, to your own personal development. You must love yourself enough to want to live a good life, so that you be willing to embrace whatever work that needs to be done for you to be transformed and to be changed. Thank you so much. Yeah, honesty, I agree with you, but I must admit also that there are a lot of Christian-based counselors, Christian-based traumatic coaches that will guide you along the side of the Bible. Yes, I know that there are lots and lots of self-help books there, but you see, the greatest therapist I have experienced is the Lord Jesus Christ. As a Christian, he knows how to touch us where it hurts, and he knows how to bring those soothing words and how to bring healing in those areas. But to bring us to that level, we need external help. We need people that God, just as we don't have issues going to the hospital, we don't have issues going to see the pharmacist, we're going to have issues, we should make it normal for people to be able to seek help if they have emotional issues. So thank you so much for joining. We'll get the video together and post it on the page. Kindly share with other people, and let's all walk on this path so that we can become whole and live the life that God really wants us to live. Thank you so much. God bless you. Hope to come your way another time. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.
God bless you.
Thank you very much, ma.
All right. Bye.
God bless
Thank
you,
you very
ma.
much.
Bye.
God bless you. Bye.